And of course, I knew what was coming, because this guy is a troll. A guy has managed to do ISIS level propaganda push. I mean, he knew exactly, so that crazy genius maybe, but he knew exactly what he was doing, which is quite concerning. And as always, he's got his results because the media is complicit, always complicit. I'll show you. Let's have a few examples. I'll try and liven it up. I'll try and get, I don't know if I can make jokes about this shit, because it's just fucking depressing, but let's have a look. Try not to cry and want to stab our eyes out. The Independent. Now this came out. I don't think they'd wiped the blood up yet when this article was released online. I think some of the victims were possibly still alive and had died from complications in hospital. But I think they were probably, so I think people were still alive when this fucking garbage got dropped. But out it came anyway. This is their reaction, and this is the sort of reaction you're going to have to expect continuously. Because, the Independent used to be printed on paper until people wised up that trees deserve better. Now it's just online like all the other bullshit. But, And of course, the Independent would not resist to push two agendas, and those two agendas are the new far-right bogeyman and of course, to have a go at new media that is basically taking over, and, their days are numbered. So they used it for their own particular ideological warfare of their own. That's right, because just thinking about it. Let's just read it first before I start going on. What are we going on? So as we know, 49 are dead. I think it's 50 now. New Zealand's bloodiest act of terrorist violence. There are many questions remaining in the aftermath. Why or how this occurred should not be among them. The demonization of Islam and increased levels of migration is an essential tool of far-right political populists and think tanks on both sides of the Atlantic. Right? Serving both to align voters against the common enemy, which is a strange thing to say from the Independent, because these outlets are also trying to align themselves against a common enemy, and that is this so-called far right pushing. But all we've seen is actions from lone actors who aren't a part of any group. They just have nonsense ideologies, and but there's no group. There's nothing that sort of inspires them. Like there's no like ISIS or nothing like that. But and they want to fight a proxy war over Middle Eastern interests. The casting of Muslims as invaders is a strategy that has proved reliably effective, not least for the man currently inhabiting the White House. Of course, Donald Trump is a white supremacist as well, isn't he? Activists and community leaders have been highlighting these concerted campaigns for years. It's also a very profitable business. One need only look to the success of various activists such as Tommy Robinson and his imitators in the United Kingdom to understand that painting a picture of society under siege by a torrent of Muslim migrants soon brings in a steady stream of donations. Fair point, but it's not going to last for long. The nonsense is coming. Prepare for the nonsense. Indeed, even compared to 2 years ago, we are now seeing a greatly increased number of personalities attempting to establish themselves as telling the truth about Islam here in Britain. A recent Hope Not Hate study. Now, as soon as you drop, unfortunately, I did cite Hope Not Hate in my last podcast as something sort of, I thought it was legitimate. I just wanted to see what they had to say about National Action, because I couldn't find much information about him. National Action, if you don't know, that's this far right group in the UK, neo-Nazi group, that everyone points to as a sign of the rise of the far right, rise of neo-Nazism and blah blah blah. But they have like 100 members spread across Britain, and that's apparently the people we're supposed to be worried about. Is this very very, very fringe group. And Hope Not Hate is where I looked to get the information on it, and there wasn't enough information. It was really badly worded, terrible grammar. And the more I've been learning about Hope Not Hate, it's just that they sort of appear behind this banner of, a lot of these organizations like to sort of have this banner of like something nice, love and spreading love and cheer. Don't believe the fear fighters, or whatever the fuck it is, when really they're just it's just tools of their own propaganda. It's not, they don't give a fuck about hate. They don't give a fuck about hate. Deeply anti-Semitic. That's what all these organizations are, really. Like, it's the more and more you think about it, it's like, yeah, Karl Marx didn't like the Jews much, so why the hell are people going to follow Karl Marx like the Jews? You don't become a Nazi and like Jews. I don't think you become a communist and like Jews either. I think this is all a fact that needs to be addressed, because like there's bits in the Communist Manifesto, if you haven't actually properly read it, they're a bit fruity, to say the least. And as soon as you go over to the far left side, immediately you have to hate Israel. That's just part of the course, is to hate Israel. Now, why is that? So this is who these people are, really. Like, they could pretend all they want. Like, they could all pretend that this thing isn't real and throw smoke at other people. Throw shade. What do you throw smoke? How do you throw smoke? Like, throw shade at other people about. No. So it's inevitable that inflammatory pronouncements about Islam's threat, made over and over again by myriad people around the world, will eventually be answered with violence. Pundits reaching for their smartphone today would be wise to remember that. Right, okay. After 9/11, up until about a few years ago, when people just stopped talking about Islamic terror, as in the mainstream media, they're the ones that threw this down our throats. It was in our faces all the fucking time. Now, you would think that more people consume mainstream media than they would online media, but because online media is rising, online media are the only people still talking about Islam, I would say, in that sort of regard, like examining it and criticizing it, whereas mainstream media hasn't done for a few years now. Not a long time. But it was them who was pushing the narrative against people. Now, your standard sort of Britain First supporting EDL marcher, are not people who go on 4chan. They're not PewDiePie fans, all right? They're not au fait with internet culture. Do you know what I'm saying? That it's they're just not. They're just average. They're just working class people, majority. They're average normal people. They're normies that are people that support that kind of thing. Now, to say that for years, with them having this shit drilled into their head about the fear of Islam and the spotlight on Islam being constant by the newspapers, by online bullshit rags like this, by the television news, on the fucking radio, day in, day out. And we never saw anything happen. We never saw nothing happen. Okay? But now suddenly, apparently, it's happening because of its online media. The fear factor isn't there as much as it was. So why has shit happened now? Well, no, probably shit's happened, Breivik happened. You think there hasn't been, racist attacks? Do you know what I mean? So for all those years, nothing happened, and now suddenly it's happening because they're getting radicalized online. I don't think so. I think one mass shooting isn't enough. One mass shooting by a nutter isn't enough to warrant this kind of fear-mongering is what it is. So the rise of the far right, you're going about all those people, all those, say, the Tommy Robinson supporters, the Britain First supporters, whoever you're talking about. There was no violence committed when the fear factor of Islam was rampant in the mainstream press. And now you get some very isolated incidents. And suddenly, it's not mainstream media's doing stuff. It's those 4chaners and those and those YouTubers and the like. Yeah, of course it is, right? Yeah. For years, online communities such as 8chan have acted as an incubator for extreme racist and white supremacist ideas, couched in multiple layers of sick humor and irony. The use of memes to first provoke a laugh and then incite hatred is well documented by researchers looking at online discourse. Got a citation there? Gonna print the study? No. This is what these spaces in which extremist ideas meet banal talk of video games and other facets of internet culture also serve to dehumanize communities and negate the impact of actions against them. Now here we go. One need only look to the gunman telling those watching him to subscribe to PewDiePie, a popular YouTuber, before opening fire to see a chilling reminder of this. In one sense, the attack was framed by the killer as something almost unreal. The other guy did say subscribe to PewDiePie. Why? I don't fucking know. But he clearly wants, like, I think from his manifesto, he wants to spark. He wants to be an ISIS type spark, is what he wants to be. What I mean by that, you know, when ISIS started bubbling up in 2012, when they were on the scene, 2011, 2012, they started bubbling. By 2014, 2015, mental, like the amount of terrorist attacks worldwide increased, just escalated. They don't really talk about that much, but it did. You know, it went up from like about 8,000 deaths to about 30 to 40,000 within a few years. Like way more than after 9/11. ISIS inspired shitloads of stuff. ISIS were as terrifying as the media portrayed them to be. Possibly. So this guy was saying subscribe to PewDiePie, saying he was inspired by Candace Owens. I think he also quoted as well. And he wants there to be an ideological war, just like ISIS did, just like Bin Laden did. Bin Laden may have got what he wanted. So we're talking about a guy that's pretty savvy in his mind. He knows, I think he must know about, you know, the incidents that have happened to PewDiePie over the years. You know, PewDiePie has been used as sort of the figurehead for big media corporations to sort of squeeze at YouTube, gain better advertising revenue. There's a lot of reasons why they did a hit piece on PewDiePie. You only have to look at the advertisers that pulled out and who has shared interests, who's owned by who. Like it's no conspiracy. You can just look into it. You can find out which companies own other companies, and you can figure out what the game plan was. Because taken out of context ain't the half of it. But there you go. So what you have now is you have a lunatic who said key things in his manifesto and said key things on his stream that he knew would trigger the media. And the media have just played along with it. They played their disgusting part. They really have. They played their disgusting part. The media was complicit with ISIS, constantly spreading their videos, their hideous imagery, making us all shit our pants, going, look at these homophobic, women-hating, Jew-murdering nutters who hate other Muslims as well because they're not part of their sect. Here comes the loonies. Are you scared? Are you scared? You fucking should be scared. Like, the media were complicit in that. A very calculated propaganda campaign, which they knew the media couldn't get enough of. They're very savvy at that. And what happens here? Again, complicit. Saying exactly the kind of thing this guy knew they would say. Saying what everyone knew they would say. It was so fucking predictable. But yet, they can't fucking help themselves. Instead of ignoring the guy and not spreading his message, they are spreading his message. And it's a message that a lot of people knew already. So they're complicit again. So let's give a round of applause for the media being complicit in pushing the ideology of lunatics. Well done, you. Because do you know what? Other people, normal people, won't know about all this internet stuff. And what they're going to push for next, I wonder. Well, who knows? Oh, we probably know. So, much like jihadist networks, they claim to despise these online communities that just leaves a relative isolation and alienation felt by young men as a means of radicalization. Incel culture has emerged in the last couple of years as a gateway to extreme ideas. Were their sites being accessed out of Syria, not Seattle or Stoke Newington, these websites would be undeniably be under a huge deal of scrutiny by security services. Well, hasn't MI5, because of constant furore and constant scaremongering and paranoia over far-right extremism, aren't the security, isn't MI5 monitoring all, like said, they're going to shift their focus to the far right? So, congratulations for that. Well done. That's great. Because, everyone gets labelled far right or alt right or whatever it is, who sort of has a dissenting voice these days. It doesn't really matter what you're up to. Just making jokes now is not allowed. So well done. So let's give them a clap for that. That's good. So so they're going to be monitoring everything and probably shutting everything down and censoring the entire internet. No dissent. No dissent against the government, please. Shh. No. Well done. Well done, Independent. That's great. Because unlike you, us three thinking people will still be here in 10 years' time when we are completely censored and the government has regulated fucking everything due to fear-mongering. But you won't be here, so it won't affect you. You'll be gone. You'll be yesterday's news. So, literally. So well done for that. Talk about Brexit ruining people's future. Talk about the environment. Well done. Oh, no. You're ruining our future unless you do something about climate change. Oh, thanks, old people. You ruined our future because of Brexit. Thanks, Independent. Thanks for ruining our future as well. Why not? Let's just ruin all the future. Let's just live in a totalitarian regime where we can't say nothing, where the sea levels have risen and we all have gills and webbed fingers to adapt to our environment. The air is poison, and everyone's out the European Union and probably having a chill time. So thanks for all of that. That's really nice. That's really kind. Thank you everyone. However, as a space inhabited mostly by young white men, they're overlooked. Well, they're not now, are they? So well done for that. I've never clapped for an article this many. Once radicalized, social media provides a convenient stage for them to act out their beliefs. I know, because you couldn't recruit anyone back in the day. I don't know how the BNP and Combat 18 did it in the 80s. I wonder how they did it without social media. It must have been so bothersome. You wonder why they bothered. They must have had such hate in their hearts that they went that extra step to do it, I suppose. Yeah, that must be it. The Christchurch killer live-streamed his attack to thousands of viewers over Facebook. His manifesto was posted across Twitter, and within hours of the massacre, it was being discussed, often positively, on right-wing YouTube channels. Now, excuse me, but I try not to lose my fucking shit right now. Well done for that heap. Well done for the hit piece on YouTube. They're ticking all the boxes. Everything's done. Yeah, that's right. So, we'll just shut down YouTube. We'll get rid of everybody that says something we don't like. Get them all off YouTube. Have the government regulate it all, I suppose. And yeah, that's it. Just get rid of it. Just fuck it off. Just fuck it off. And we can just get all our news from all the old news providers. There's wonderful, like the Mail and the Sun and the Guardian and the Times and the Independent. That's the best place to get all our information and news from, isn't it? Wonderful. Let's just go back to being dumb again. Let's just be dumbed down again by mainstream media. Let's just watch television again. That's great. Okay. Brilliant. Progress. I love progress, me. I'm a big fan of it. Well done. Well done. Not really milking this tragedy too much, are you? No, I wouldn't hate to accuse you of milking a tragedy in such a cynical way. But attacking. Yeah. Well done for milking a tragedy. Brilliant. Well done. That's really good. You are milking this tragedy. There is no milk left in this cow. Or is there? I think there is. Yeah. Now, real talk, because I read this. Look, I was going to do this on Friday, but I was like, I was done with it. I was emotional Friday. I was just like, no. I just need to leave this shit alone. Emotional for other reasons. I've been through some shit. Yeah, not girly shit or nothing like that. I'm talking about bereavement and stuff. All right, okay, not some fucking faff. Now, so I went on, as soon as I seen this, I went on YouTube and I looked and I did, I narrowed down the search. I searched. I found one guy, who live streamed and went through the manifesto, and he wasn't particularly being very, it wasn't a kind critique of the manifesto. He was basically totally mocking it and calling it lunacy. That's all I found. Everything else was just news outlets or people who wanted to be news outlets going, oh, breaking news, That was it. I didn't find fucking nothing. And YouTube wouldn't have shut that shit down because it'd be trending. And they don't really shut much down. There's still weird shit on YouTube that they haven't got rid of, But there's a hell of a lot to get through though, so I don't know, yeah. But no, this is an outright lie, and it is. So why are you fucking lying? I'm just lying all the time, like, it's pathetic. You probably don't even go on YouTube, like. Do you know what I mean? You think you had the time? You think this person had the time to write this article as the bullets are still penetrating flesh? Is when they're probably writing this article. They knew exactly what they were going to say before it even fucking happened. And they needed to get this by deadline and send it out. No spelling. I haven't found any spelling mistakes. Blah 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 blah. And you think you had time to just do as much search as I did with my free schedule? Because I'm not a slave. Do you think? No, you didn't watch anything. You didn't even look. You didn't do anything. Just you're a liar. You're a fucking liar. That's it. There's nothing else to conclude from that. You're complicit in spreading the propaganda of a lunatic. You're complicit in aiding a clampdown on all freedoms across the internet space, a space that has been a wonderful gift that has made people more intelligent, more aware of things, and more skeptical of bullshit. And that's why you don't like it. Okay. Right, so you can live in your little weird bubble and hope it never comes bursting, but it will. Okay, so you need to just stop. You really need to pipe down. This is not the first fucking rodeo. This sort of thing happened after 9/11, 7/7. We've seen this happen before. Do you think you can hoodwink us again? You fucking mad. Think about all the liberties that were taken away with terrorism bills that they introduced, which they have. And people said this years ago, and I was like, no. But they said they all used them against you. And they have used it against, because everyone thought, well, it's just going to be against Muslim extremists. Now, they've used it on all kinds of people, Because you think, oh, it's only going to be for this kind of people. And now we're like, well, it'll only be for far-right lunatics. It's like, yeah, that's all very well and good that we can, lock up some Nazis. But there's not enough Nazis out there to warrant this much attention. So unfortunately, it's going to be the same old deal. So whereas you had Muslims, there was that lovely family. Actually, they went to Disney World with a camera, and they got held up on terrorism acts. And what are you doing with this camera at Disney World? That's weird. I don't know, filming a family day out. That's just one of many fucking incidents. Many incidents. And think about all the copycat terrorists throughout the terrorist period who constantly saw stuff in the media, which is kind of what this guy wants, this copycat. And think how them were inept and were just idiots, like literal idiots. That's why they made the film Four Lions. It was based on a lot of true stuff about just these inept, ridiculous so-called terrorist cells, which weren't, which just a bunch of just nihilists probably. They're going, yeah, we'll do it in the name of Allah. Why not? Bored. Right, come on, man. This ain't our first rodeo, and we know where it leads to. We won't forget, it's not just a family having, being interrogated for days on end about a fucking family home video. There's Menezes. We won't forget about Menezes, because the paranoia and lunacy injected into people that our very own armed police. Yes, because the police have guns and we don't. Shoots dead a man of 7 shots, 6, 7, point blank range. Just because he looked a bit brown. He's Brazilian. What was he doing? Jumped the railings. Like, you ever lived in London? Have you ever jumped? Come on, I've jumped it. Come on, everyone's giving it a try. Think you should get shot for that? That's where this kind of bullshit leads to. I don't know if you remember. You must have been there, or are you a child? You a child? You too young to remember? This ain't the first fucking rodeo. We know what happens. But that's fine. We'll forget about the whole 15 years of Islamic nonsense being pumped into us. And we'll just go on with a new bunch of nonsense. That's perfectly fine. That's absolutely fine. Why not? Why fuck up tradition? These social media tools were used for the express purpose of turning the killings into a spectacle, one to be consumed over and over again. While his accounts would be shut down within hours of the attack, the nature of these networks means that the video could and is being uploaded over and over again. It will be available forever, no matter how hard authorities try to clamp down. Why and how this attack occurred is no mystery. Alright, let's just break this down. So you have a problem with people re-uploading this video of the attack. Okay. So what happened to the whole thing of let's not make martyrs out of these people? Right? You spread their names across, you will show their photos, you will also show clips. You'll be allowed to show clips of it. But other people, if they show clips, won't be allowed to. You'll spread his name. You also are spreading his message, spreading his face. You are making him a poster child for more nutters. That's what you've done. Let's make no fucking mistake about this. You and the rest of you. But particularly you. Because I'll talk about you right now. But and the rest of you as well. I've seen his face spread by news outlets. Okay, I haven't seen his face spread by any of these YouTubers that you might be talking about. You are spreading his message, and you are spreading his face around, and his name. Like, people like you. Okay, so like, for you to sit there and even, like, do you do that with a straight face? You're a ridiculous person. Lord. I hope you know. I really hope you don't have children, because you're raising. They need to be taken into care. Can't have idiots raising kids. Why and how this attack occurred is no mystery. The inciting words, the spaces in which the killer was radicalized, and the tools used to carry it out are in plain view. Right. Okay. That's like a bit like the argument going, well, let's ban all knives because knives are used to kill people. Yeah, let's ban all knives. Alright, so what are chefs going to do? Use their teeth, I suppose. Any speculation seems redundant in the face of the evidence provided. What we do need answers to is the question of what happens next. Since those inciting and radicaling are among us, part of our communities, will we choose to ignore them? Will we talk about the influence upon the killer, seeking to paint him as mentally ill or a lone wolf? I mean, I think both those words could easily apply to him, to be fair. So, shut up. Or can we finally start to have some difficult conversations about how privilege and a type of blindness prevents us from tackling an emerging increasing threat? We can only make excuses for so long. That's right, you've managed to throw privilege in there. Well, done. A supreme hit piece on all new media. Fantastic. Using tragedy. Spreading the message of a lunatic. Spreading someone else's propaganda. As if this guy sort of knew this would happen. Oh, wow, how fascinating. Well done, you. Who are you? This guy, Mike Stutchberry. I was going to tweet out him, but I never tweet anything. Just going, so could you and YouTube just be a bit of a prick and just say, can you just send me the links to these videos you're talking about? But, Why waste my time? This guy. Look at this face. Should we make him bigger? This guy. This guy. See, I'm not going to spread the face or the name around of a fucking lunatic murderer who wants to be famous, whose sole purpose is to get people to read his manifesto and to spark off some sort of ideological warfare and trigger the lazy, desperate, and crumbling mainstream and legacy media into doing his dirty work for him. But I will spread your face and your name around as a nonsense peddler. That's your new titles. I'm fed up of all the old words that people keep saying about everything. I'm fed up of them. I'm fed up of all these terms. It gets bandied around too much. I'm bored of it. The guy that did the murders is a nonsense peddler. You are also a nonsense peddler. You are both nonsense peddlers. Shame on both of you. Obviously more shame on him because he killed people. But shame on you also. You absolute donkey. Look at you. No wonder you're a hater. You haven't got this, or this, or this. Just a set of mangy little balls. You nonsense peddler. And for the 35,000 people that shared this nonsense, shame on you too. Shame on